The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The disciples had forgotten to bring bread, and they had only one loaf with them in the boat. Jesus enjoined them, "Watch out, guard against the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod." They concluded among themselves that it was because they had no bread. When he became aware of this, he said to them, "Why do you conclude that it is because you have no bread? Do you not yet understand or comprehend? Are your hearts hardened? Do you have eyes and not see, and ears and not hear? And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many wicker baskets full of fragments you picked up?" They answered him, 12. "When I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many full wicker baskets of fragments did you pick up?" They answered him, 7. He said to them, "Do you still not understand?" The Gospel of the Lord. Sometimes I'm a little sympathetic for the disciples. Our Lord can be kind of a little bit hard on them. I mean, okay, yeah, I get they were, dumbfounded. I don't know. They weren't thinking right, but I don't know if it merited this kind of chewing out. But anyways, I'm always a little bit sympathetic, but at the same time, like they didn't get it. They were just worried about not having enough bread, and this comes right after the Lord has changed, has multiplied the bread for others. So, I mean, I can see it, both sides of it, right? But for sure, what the disciples in this scene and in other scenes have going against them is they forget. They forget that the Lord was able to feed 5,000 with just a handful of loaves, and the same with 4,000. They even had it left over. So as they're on the boat, they're like, "Oh man, we only got 1 loaf. Is this going to be enough?" It's like, well, he just proved he can multiply it. So they would often forget, which is a bit of the fallen human condition. We forget God's providence. So we look back, the number one fallacy of the Israelites in the deserts, they're always forgetting the miracles God did to get them out of their Egypt. And then they'd complain. And then he would feed them, and they'd forget, and they'd complain. And so it's a drama that continues to go on. It continues to go on in our hearts, that we can forget all the ways our Lord has provided for us in the past. And then we can get just sucked into the worry of the need that I'm in right now. And what am I going to do? Well, the Lord provided back then. He's probably going to provide now if we just have faith and openness. So it's a little bit of both in today's gospel. Yeah, I can sympathize because I do the same thing. But at the same time, we do have that tendency to forget the blessings the Lord has given us, and to allow that knowledge, that remembrance of the way He's provided to inform the future. So I'm in a need right now. Hey, chances are God has provided in the past. He's probably going to provide now. And then we can have faith and be at peace. And then we can be open to the teaching that our Lord really wants to do with us. He's teaching them to watch out against the leaven of the Pharisees and Herod, what's rising up within them. Don't buy into it kind of stuff. So anyway, may we learn from the mistakes of others, which would be the disciples today, and not forget all the ways the Lord has provided for us, and to have faith in that knowledge, that remembrance of the ways He has, that they have the faith that He will then provide in our current need.